Here is a quadratic equation. 3x squared minus 7x plus 5 equals 0. Part AI, calculate the discriminant of this quadratic. So the discriminant is the bit underneath or inside the square root, okay, of our quadratic formula, b squared minus 4ac. Okay, so a is the coefficient of x squared, so a is equal to 3. B is the coefficient of x, and C is our constant term, or constant coefficient, so C is equal to 5. I'm now going to substitute it into here, okay, but without the square root sign. Okay, so we have minus 7 in brackets all squared, and then we've got minus 4, lots of A, so lots of 3, oops, sorry guys, times by 5. Minus 7 all squared makes 49, minus 4 times 3 is 12, times 5 is 60, so 40 minus 60 gets us down to minus 11, or negative 11. So that's the answer for that part. Next up, it says part II. State what your answer tells you about the roots of the equation 3x squared minus 7x plus 5 is 0. Well, because the discriminant, okay, we worked out in part AI, is less than 0, it means we have no real roots, okay, so no real distinct roots. Okay, because you can't square root a negative, right? Remember, the b squared minus 4ac, remember, that's underneath or inside the square root, and we can't square root a negative number. Okay, now obviously, spoiler alert, yeah, if you go on to do maths beyond, okay, A-level maths, then you have what we call, yeah, like a complex plane, complex numbers. But in regular A-level maths, it means that we have no real roots, because I can't square root a negative number. Okay, don't get confused with if I have negative root 11. Okay, that is allowed, but I can't square root a negative number. Okay, so that's not allowed, but that is allowed. Okay, so spoiler alert, yeah. So negative root 11 is allowed, but the square root of minus 11 or the square root of negative 11 is not allowed. Okay, we have no real roots. Again, feel free to obviously research here, okay, further as to what happens when we enter like a different world. So a world of complex numbers, complex plane, but that is beyond the scope of these questions. Okay, part B, find the sum and the product of the roots of the equation 10x squared equals 3 minus 5x. So step 1, make the quadratic equal to 0. So I'm going to add 5x and subtract 3. So I have 10x squared plus 5x minus 3 is equal to 0. The sum is alpha plus beta is minus b over a, so that's minus 5 over 10, or minus 5/10. That can be simplified, divide top and bottom by 5. We get minus a half. And similarly, the product of the root alpha beta is c over a, so that's minus 3 over 10. So the sum is minus a half, okay, or negative a half, or minus 1 over 2, or minus, 5/10. And then the product of the roots is minus 3/10, or negative 3 over 10, or negative 3/10. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Remember, alpha plus beta, okay, which are our roots, is equal to minus b over a, where b is the coefficient of x and a is the coefficient of x squared, and the alpha beta, the product of the roots, is c over a. Okay, that is for roots of a quadratic, okay, which is taught in AS level further maths. So that is, this part here is AS level further maths. Okay, looking at sum and product, okay, Quadratics, okay, of polynomial degree 2.